Hey everybody, this is Mark for the Gun Guy channel, and today we are going to talk about a rifle, my favorite rifle to shoot 7.62 rounds in. Now many of you are probably thinking it's the AK-47, and it might be the AK-47 if I didn't live where I lived, because I can't have one. So we're going to talk about the Ruger American rifle, the ranch version, chambered in 7.62 right now. Hey everybody, and thanks for joining us today. Like I said, today we are going to be talking about the American Ranch rifle made by Ruger. And if you've been enjoying our videos, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to us, give us a comment, let us know what you think of them. That way you will get to know about new videos as soon as they come out. A little bit of a history as to how I wound up with a bolt action rifle chambered in 7.62, because it's not that common, right? Whenever anyone thinks about that particular round, you go right to the AK-47, maybe the SKS, but I didn't because I happen to live in a jurisdiction where you can't buy those right now. And many, many moons ago, I got rid of my AK-47. But what I did not get rid of was all the ammunition for it, because I just assumed at a certain point I would go out and buy another AK. However, while I was deciding whether or not to get one, the government in my particular state made them illegal to buy anymore. So I had a whole bunch of ammunition and nothing to shoot it with. And when you start looking around for different rifles that will actually shoot the 7.62, it's pretty limited. There was a company called Howa, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, which I had never really heard of. And honestly, when I started doing research on them, the gun seemed pretty good. But there were some mixed reviews on various sites that I saw, and they were a little more expensive than the Ruger. I think CZ also had one, but that was a lot more expensive. So I basically went with the Ruger. Wound up getting it for $470. I think it's suggested retail prices $5 or $6, somewhere around there. But I got mine for $470, so I was really pretty happy about that. The other thing outside of the price that made me pretty happy was the magazine. Most of the other bolt action rifles came with a flush mounted magazine which held either 4 or 5 rounds. And that was okay because it's a bolt action rifle, right? You don't need tons of rounds. It's not a semi-automatic. But the American rifle took magazines from the Mini 30. Which meant that if I wanted, I could get a 5, 10, or 20 round magazine that would fit this gun. Footnote, a 20 round magazine, because that too, along with the AK, is illegal in my state, but I could get at least a 10 round magazine, so I'm not reloading all the time when I'm target practicing. A little bit of the history on this particular rifle. Ruger started making these rifles around 2011. And the American rifle is basically a super budget-friendly bolt-action center-fire rifle. This rifle comes with a bunch of different models and calibers. There's the standard, there is a Predator, a Ranch, which is a compact version. There is a compact version, which is for youth, and then there is also a Hunter. And in regard to what it comes chambered in, it's a lot of those as well. 30-06, 270 Winchester, 6.5 Creedmoor, 308 Winchester, 223 Remington, and the one that we are looking at today, the 7.62. And it also even comes in more. Just go to the site if you want to see what you can get this gun chambered in. All right, so now that we've got the basics under our belt, what we're going to do is take a look at this gun. We're basically going to kind of cover in a very superficial way how to get this gun from the box to the range and how to shoot it. So let's take a look at what you get right out of the box. And that is the rifle and a 5 round magazine. This is actually a 10, which did not come with it. but I don't have the 5, so this will do for today. The first thing you'll probably notice is that it comes with a flat dark earth, although it looks pretty green to me, but synthetic stock. As a general rule, I like wooden stocks. However, I really kind of have grown to appreciate this particular stock. You'll also notice that it does not come with any sights, but it does have a pre-installed Picatinny rail, so you can add your sights, either red dot or a scope, and as you'll see in a little bit, I went with a Vortex Crossfire scope for this particular rifle. In regard to the barrel length itself, it is a 16.12 inches, and it is a cold hammer forged barrel. It is also a free floating barrel, and this is intended to help with accuracy. It has a black matte finish to it. It has a 1 in 9.5 twist, and it's got 5 grooves. The overall length on the gun is 36 inches, and the weight of the gun is only 5.9 pounds. That honestly is kind of one of the things that made me appreciate the synthetic stock over the wooden stock. A wooden gun is a lot heavier. So if you were using this particular gun for hunting, for example, it would be a lot easier to carry around all day than a heavier wooden stock. I don't hunt, so I really can't speak with any authority on that, but I am just speculating away, as they say. So it also comes with 2 swivel knobs in case you wanted to put a carrying strap on it, and a really nice little Ruger logo. The gun does have a safety on the tang, so the fire position, and it needs to be activated, and you can actually tell here when the little metal part is sticking out, the trigger is activated. So you can now go to safe, and nothing. So I'm sure that upsets all the Glock people who are watching. Don't want a safety on a gun.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
And then if you'd like to shoot it, you can switch to fire, and again, there you go. Obviously, the gun has been checked and is clear. The length of pull on this particular gun is 13.75 inches. And what length of pull basically is from the trigger, the middle of the trigger, to the middle of the butt. And this becomes important because of the cheek weld and where your cheek will wind up on the specific gun. If you'd like to get the appropriate length of pull for yourself, because there's a recoil with this or a shotgun, you basically want to be able to have 3 fingers between the top knuckle of your thumb when it's holding the gun and where your nose would be. So I'm going to go ahead and try and do this for you. So if I bring this up, you can see I've got 4. So I'm fairly good, and I should have nice eye relief. I could bring it forward if I want, but this is just about a perfect length of pull for me. And that's, as a general rule, how you do it. So I call it the 3-finger rule. It applies to rifles, shotguns, whiskey, and scotch. I like 3 fingers.
Give me 3 fingers of milk, Ma.
As I said, the magazine, this is a 10, but it does come with a 5. In jurisdictions where you're allowed, there are also larger magazines. The magazine also has a bolt stop on the back. Now this is plastic, or at least it feels plastic, so you do want to kind of be careful with it. But when you put it in and you come back, if it's fired, well, I guess it's not working. So it's not really doing much of the bolt stopping. But in theory, what should happen is the bolt should be held open when that happens. So I don't know why it's not working, but that's how it's supposed to work. You'll also notice towards the rear of it, that it comes with a really nice recoil pad. So I did notice this helped with the recoil while shooting quite a bit. So I didn't have to add anything to this specific gun for that. And now let's take this magazine out, just because the one time the bolt stop will work is when I don't want it to. And again, just double checking. But so the trigger on this gun is what Ruger calls their Marksman Adjustable Trigger. And basically you can adjust the weight on this trigger pull anywhere from 3 to 5 pounds, depending on what you prefer. So my understanding is that it is a derivative of Savage Arms trigger, which also has an adjustable weight. To adjust the weight on this trigger, you would remove these two Allen screws, and you could then remove the stock. And in the front of this trigger assembly, there is another Allen screw, and you can use that Allen wrench to either increase or decrease the poundage on the trigger. So if you were to move it clockwise, you would be tightening that screw, and if you fully tighten the screw on the trigger, you'll bring it up to 5 pounds. If you go counterclockwise, you will loosen the tension on the trigger, and it will go all the way down to 3 pounds. Now the 3 pounds is even if you remove that screw, which Ruger does not recommend doing. So if you want a super light trigger, turn it counterclockwise, but allow it to just stay within the socket. So let's take a quick look at the trigger weight and see what it's set at right now out of the box and from the factory. All right, so let's take a look at where we're at with the trigger. And again, well, 2 pounds, 8.8 ounces. So apparently we're a little lighter than the 3, but that could just be me and the gauge again. So let's do that. 1 pound, 12.4 ounces. Two pounds, 8.5 ounces. And just because this is actually coming in lower than what they're saying, we're going to try it one more time. £2, 9.6 ounces. So at least according to our tool here, the trigger's coming in below 3, which is supposed to be the minimum setting. It is a beautifully crisp trigger. So if you can see, it's barely got any take up, no creep. It's just pretty much right there. Now I do not shoot bolt action rifles a lot, but for me this trigger was really just very nice. So there you have the trigger on this particular gun. So in regard to the actual bolt itself, obviously one of the things that makes a bolt action rifle a bolt action rifle is how the action works on this and whether it moves smoothly or not. I will say, and again, this is post shooting the first time, it was a little bit rough the first time out of the box, right? It is much smoother right now than it was at first. And I am assuming that this bolt and the action on this is going to get even more smooth as I shoot with this more often. Now, in regard to the bolt itself, again, I'm not a bolt action guy. I don't know much about it. So there are specifics as to like a full bolt, a half bolt, all kinds of stuff that I really just don't know and don't understand. So I'm not going to speak on that. And if you'd like to know about that stuff, I'm sure there are articles online that you can find out. What I will talk about, however, is the angle on this particular bolt, which is at 70. So what that basically means is that when you twist the bolt up, this is a 70-degree angle. And the reason that that becomes important is because you will have a scope here, so you want to be able to operate this without interfering with the scope, right? So that's why the particular angle becomes important. This bolt also is a 3-lug bolt, and my understanding is that you have an option of 2, 3, and 4 lugs. I really have no idea if there's a benefit to any of that, but I also believe that the angles go anywhere from 45 degrees up to 90 degrees. And that, again, is just important because when you have optics on, you don't want to be banging into your scope. And we'll put a scope on this in a little bit and just kind of show you how that works. As I said, out of the box, this gun does not come with any sights, which makes it difficult to aim. It does, however, have a Picatinny rail. I bought this particular scope to put on this rifle. This is a Crossfire. It is a Vortex Optics Crossfire, which is a second focal plane. And the reason that I got this particular scope was honestly because it was pretty cheap. I picked it up for $129, and I didn't need something that was going to be accurate out to 1,000 yards. The effective range on a 7.62 or an AK round is really ideally under 200 yards, and its maximum effective range is 400 yards. And more importantly, the only range around within 2 hours of where I live has a 100-yard range, so I only needed something that could go out 100 yards. And this would definitely do the job. Now, in regard to scopes, because you might not know about scopes like I didn't when I got this particular gun, I had to kind of do a crash course. Outside of the magnification and holding 0, the other element that you really kind of want to pay attention to is whether it is a second or first focal plane scope. Those are the two basic types of rifle scopes. The main difference between these two types of scopes is the position of the rectal within the scope, which actually just means the crosshairs, right? So a rectal is another way of saying crosshairs, and if you don't say it properly, it might come out sounding obscene.
You using the whole fist stock?
But in a first focal plane scope, the rectal is located in front of the magnification lens. And that means that the rectal will appear to change size as the magnification is being adjusted. In a second focal plane scope, the rectal is located behind the magnification lens, which means the rectal stays the same constant size even when the magnification is adjusted. So those are really the two differences between the first focal and second focal plane. And again, for me, the second seemed just fine because of the distance that I was shooting at. What you would do with this is you do need to get mounts. And I've already put the mounts on this because this obviously was on the gun already. We did zero it out, and where my cheek hit this in the distance between my eye in the back of this was important. So for me, if I put the first mount in the second groove on the Picatinny and the rear one 4 from the back, that was giving me the best eye relief. So that's what I did. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to put this in the video or not. By the way, when you attach these, you could also use a level. You can get very, you can spend a lifetime putting scopes on. I just did exactly what I did, and it seemed to work fine. So, but what I did not do, and what I failed to do, which was creating some issues and some confusion, was I forgot to actually tighten the screws on the mount. So I had thought we had zeroed it, and we kept trying to move the clicks, and I was still hitting the exact same spot. So you just want to kind of give it not over tighten it, but you definitely want it to be where it's not moving. And I forgot to do this when I put it on. So sighting it in really did take a lot longer because of that mistake on my part, and could not figure out. I was changing the knobs, right, for windage and elevation, and I was still hitting the exact same spot. The reason was these weren't tight.
There you go. You see that? You're.
Oh, it was high.
Yeah, is that high center?
Yeah.
So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes.
Yep. And then what's this, quarter?
And it's a quarter.
Quarter MOA. Alright, you're gonna need to move 6. I would say,
Is that 24?
yeah, for now I would do, just do 16 for now, because I'm trying to say this quarter MOA and it's on a scope like this, it means a quarter at 100.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to do...
Yeah, so just do something like 16 for now. Good thing is, it looks like your windage is perfectly fine. It's just your height.
All right. Right next to it.
So it should go down.
It was just...
Did you do the
Did
adjustment?
16?
You did 16, it still didn't move?
Yeah.
I could do another 16, I guess.
1, 2, 3. 16. All right. Where?
Same place.
Same place.
Oh. You still lose it?
Oh, yeah.
That might be why. We shouldn't need any more adjustments now.
Yeah.
Yep. Good now.
Yeah.
Just gotta make sure that stays tight.
Pretty close.
So these knobs, which are underneath these caps, basically change where you're aiming at. So the way that I did this, which seemed like the easiest way, was I went out and I got this laser bore sighter. And basically what you do is you take the various sizes, right? And for a rifle, you put this adapter on and you screw this in. This is for 30 cal. Okay. And you insert this into the rifle. You then turn this on and you will get a laser. You adjust the sight so you put the laser in the center of your target, and then you adjust your sights so as to make the two coincide. So you want the center of the rectal to be on the laser on the target at 100 or 25 yards. And from there, you then take some practice shots and you can recenter the gun as needed. And there are specific targets that you would use to sight this in. So I'm going to put this away real quick, make sure that this is off. And that is a super simple overview, but honestly, that's all that it really is. On this particular scope, at 100 yards, right, 1 click is a quarter MOA. So 4 clicks equals 1 inch. So if I want to go, let's say that I hit 1 inch below where I'm aiming. What I would do is I would click 4 towards the U, that'll raise it, it will go up. If I am 1 inch to the left or right, I use 4 clicks accordingly. Let's say to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, and take the shot. And what's basically happening is you're going to fine tune where you're shooting. And again, you could spend a lot of time fine tuning. I had a blast doing this. It was not nearly as intimidating or as hard as I thought it was going to be. But granted, I did not get into all the mathematics that a lot of people who like shooting long distance rifles do. I was basically just trying to get close to the center of what I was aiming for, and really had a lot of fun doing it. For me, particularly with the eye problems that I've had, hitting a 1 inch target at 100 yards was an awesome experience. I really recommend it to everyone. So that really, in a super quick nutshell, and then you want to put these on afterwards, is how you put the scope on and how, at least I, zeroed the scope in. So if you have a better way to do this, which I'm sure there are a lot better ways out there for people who have had more experience with rifles, please add a comment as to how to do that. So a little bit more irony at the range. So I had originally bought this gun specifically because I had so much of this old steel-cased ammo and I wanted to shoot it. So I bought this gun specifically to shoot this. The problem with this old steel ammo was it expanded. Almost every time I shot one of these through this gun, it would expand and stick. And there were times I even had to use a mallet to get the bolt to come back and extract this. So I wound up purchasing yet more ammunition for this gun. And this is also steel case ammo, although it looks much prettier in its defense than this ammo. And honestly, if I'm feeling them, and I'm sure that they're just about the same, this was basically not working because it would expand when it was fired and it would get jammed in the barrel of the gun. So I bought this to make sure that it was the ammunition and not the gun itself. And sure enough, this shot beautifully and it was a ton of fun to shoot. I was complaining about that to the range officer, and he had told me an old story about someone else, I guess a veteran, who had said that he was having the same problem, and the way that he got around that was he made a AK-47 salad, I believe is what he called it, which is where he took the 7.62 ammo and he filled a bowl with the bullets, and then he added gun oil and mixed vigorously. Then he took and brought those rounds to the range, and he said that fixed the expansion problem in the bolt action. I will determine at some point if I want to do that, although it sounds super messy. But at least it might get rid of this ammo that I've been trying to get rid of for over 10 years. So now you can see that once we actually figured out that you actually have to tighten down the scope to aim the thing, the gun really was a lot of fun to shoot. Didn't really have much kick, and again, I kind of wouldn't expect it from this round, but it actually had less recoil than an AK, which I have shot those rounds before, so it was really pleasant to shoot, and it was just a lot of fun. I have never shot at 100 yards before, and honestly, I've never used a scope before, and I enjoyed it. One of the things, if you've watched some of our videos, that I have had problems with or been wrestling with is my eyesight. And I have to wear glasses to see at a distance. And the problem is when I wear glasses to see at a distance, I can't see my sight picture when I present the gun. So it becomes very blurred. And if I take my glasses off, my sight picture is fine, but then I can't see downrange and the target is blurred. What I discovered when I was at the range is that I can actually have my glasses on and the scope somehow works with the glasses and I can see perfectly fine. And it really made shooting a lot of fun for me. So I will probably be doing a lot more shooting with scopes and with rifles. And in regard to this specific rifle, which is my first bolt action rifle, by the way, as well, I really enjoyed it. I love the way it performed. It shot well. The trigger was great. If I had to do it all over again and could pick any of the guns that we talked about at the beginning of this video, I would still go with this Ruger because honestly, I really like it. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. See you next time.